Chapter 221. I'm not ready yet. Jianyun heard Huo Liancheng's strong heartbeat and felt pain in her ears. All the things that she had known him for a long time suddenly appeared in front of her eyes. Other than the few times she got angry, there was also the reason why she provoked him. In fact, he was very good to her and did not really hurt her. Her dislike for him was mostly due to prejudice and the persistence in her heart. However, he was especially gentle tonight, and she could not bear to reject him. The room was very quiet, so quiet that only the sound of their breathing could be heard. After a long time, Jianyun softly hummed and wrapped her arms around Huo Liancheng's waist. Under the circumstances where he said he loved her personally, no matter how much she did not want to fall in love with such a dangerous man like him, she could not reject him anymore. She also had vanity. When a man like Huo Liancheng said he loved her personally, her heart would beat faster, and her heart would beat faster. Let's give it a try. So what if we give it a try? If she could not love him no matter what, he would not pester her anymore. But what if she really fell in love with him? Once she handed over her heart, would she be covered in wounds in the end? She did not want to think too much. After so many years, she was too timid and afraid of getting hurt again. That was why she sealed her heart. In the end, what did she get? Jianyun only gently agreed, but it made Huo Liancheng's heart beat even more violently. From the first time he saw her, he had waited for so many years. Finally, he could hold her in his arms. How could he not be excited? Wildcat, trust me. The hot air from Huo Liancheng's mouth fell on Jianyun's face. He kept kissing her ear. Jianyun shrank her neck and felt a little uncomfortable. She suddenly felt shy and wanted to push him away because of their inexplicable relationship. Woo, so itchy. Little wildcat. Huo Liancheng's breathing suddenly became hurried. His hand moved from Jianyun's waist to her waist and gradually slid forward. His voice became low and hoarse. Hey! Jianyun felt Huo Liancheng's hand reach into her clothes. She was so nervous that her whole body trembled. She quickly dodged to the side and beat his hand in a flurry. Can you give it to me? Huo Liancheng resisted the urge to push Jianyun down. He still patiently coaxed her. Not now. I'm not ready yet. Jianyun was so embarrassed that her face turned red. She did not dare to look Alasmez into Huo Liancheng's eyes. Huo Liancheng paused for a moment and hid the dark light in his eyes. He nodded. Okay, I have waited for you for 6 years. I don't care about this moment anymore. Jianyun bit her tips and looked up at him. You really don't want to tell me who you are? I said that I will only tell you if you say you love me. Huo Liancheng picked Jianyun up horizontally and walked to the sofa to sit down. He held her slim waist and knitted his brows. He secretly wondered why she would be very conflicted when she mentioned making love to him. With his understanding of Jianyun, she did not seem like a scheming woman. During this period of time, she did not have that kind of pretentious character. Then why did she resist so much? Could it be that she had bad memories in this area? Huo Liancheng's brows knitted even more tightly, and his heart was also somewhat unhappy. Although he did not have a relationship complex, whenever he thought about how she had flirted with another man, it was as if something had clogged his heart. Hey, why did you become serious again? Jianyun saw that Huo Liancheng suddenly did not speak, and his expression was terrifyingly gloomy. She thought that she had provoked him again, and quickly wanted to run away. Huo Liancheng wrapped his arms around Jianyun and stretched out his long arm. He picked up the wine glass and took a sip. Then he pressed Jianyun onto the sofa and directly covered her mouth. Jianyun passively swallowed another mouthful of wine. She was already impatient with alcohol, and drinking a mouthful would make her face turn red. At this time, she could not help but glare at Huo Liancheng angrily. You did it on purpose? On purpose? Huo Liancheng pretended to not understand and pinched Jianyun's chin with a smile. Jianyun pushed him. Can you not look cold for a while and smile for a while? You look very scary. Huo Liancheng raised his eyebrows. Could it be that this was the reason why she hid from him previously? I'm used to it. I can't change it for a while. However, no matter what, I won't be angry with you. Huo Liancheng said. Really? Jianyun was doubtful. Of course, you can't touch my bottom line. Huo Liancheng decided that it was better to say some things clearly in advance. What bottom line? Jianyun asked. Loyalty. You can't betray me. Huo Liancheng stared into Jianyun's eyes and said word by word. I think I said that. Jianyun curled her lips. She did not believe that men of Huo Liancheng's status would want loyalty. No, they wanted loyalty from each other, but they could do whatever they wanted. Isn't it good for us to be loyal to each other? Huo Liancheng kissed Jianyun. Yes. Jianyun nodded. She did not trust Huo Liancheng at all, because she did not believe that he would be loyal to her. At this time, she was more and more curious about who he was, and why he kept saying that they knew each other 6 years ago, but she really did not have any impression of him. Huo Liancheng started kissing Jianyun again, and the more he kissed, the deeper he kissed. Jianyun wanted to push him away, but her hands were locked by him. She could not exert any strength. She was also dizzy from his kisses. In a daze, she heard her phone ring. She subconsciously reached out to take the phone on the coffee table, but Huo Liancheng held her hand and crossed his fingers with her. Jianyun's head became even more dizzy. It was not known how long had passed until this kiss ended. Jianyun's face had already turned red. Half of it was due to alcohol, and the other half was due to embarrassment. Tonight, he had kissed her countless times. What was scary was that every deep kiss made her heart beat faster. That throbbing feeling was actually like her first love. Jian Yun panted as she looked at Huo Liancheng. Her bright eyes were full of watery light, reflecting his reflection. Huo Liancheng also looked at Jian Yun. His eyes were very deep and very dark, like good black jade. It was unbelievably beautiful. Jian Yun's face heated up when she saw Huo Liancheng's gaze. She suddenly lowered her eyelids. I'm going to sleep. Sleep with me, okay? Huo Liancheng hugged Jian Yun and did not want to let go. He rubbed her chin with his nose and said in a low voice, I did not touch you because I wanted to hug you. Jian Yun was wrapped by his aura. For a moment, she wanted to agree, but then she realized and immediately shook her head. I still don't want it. I'm used to sleeping alone. She almost fell for it. A man's words are simply not trustworthy. If she really agreed to it tonight, then something would definitely happen at night. But she was really not ready yet. Huo Liancheng looked very disappointed. He picked Jian Yun up and let her sit on his lap. Jian Yun did not resist him anymore. She reached out to take the phone and looked at it. When she looked at it, she frowned. The call just now was from Xu Haiyang. Why did he suddenly call her? Chapter 222. Placed spies. Jian Yun could not figure it out. Ever since Xu Haiyang returned to the country, they had not contacted each other many times. He had called her a few times, but Jian Yun basically ignored him. Then tonight is already at this time. Why did he suddenly call her again? Could it be something? Jian Yun looked down at the unanswered phone display and was stunned for a moment. Huo Liancheng naturally also saw the glaring name on Jian Yun's phone. He remembered that night when he kissed Jian Yun outside the ladies' restroom in the clubhouse, that pair of eyes that were stained with pain in the dark, his brows furrowing silently. Do you want to call back? Huo Liancheng wrapped his arms around Jian Yun's waist and asked. Jian Yun was shocked. She turned to look at Huo Liancheng. She saw that he did not look at her but was focused on playing with her hair. He did not seem to notice who was calling. No, it's already so late. Let's go to sleep. Jian Yun shook her head and put her phone in her pocket. She suddenly felt that something was wrong. Hey, don't poke me. Jian Yun pushed Huo Liancheng. Huo Liancheng looked up and his eyes turned red. The corner of his mouth curled into a smile that was not a smile. Jian Yun saw that his expression was not right and subconsciously looked down. She immediately reacted and blushed. She almost slipped off Huo Liancheng's legs and ran into her bedroom. Just as she closed the door, she heard Huo Liancheng's low laughter from behind. Jian Yun suddenly closed the door and shut the ear-piercing laughter outside. She fell onto the bed and could not raise her head. God, she was really stupid to say something that could make people collapse. It was over. How was she going to get along with this in the future? Jian Yun was really melancholic. She never would have thought that Huo Liancheng, who always had a cold face, would be so shameless. Her phone rang in her pocket, indicating that there was a WeChat message. Jian Yun could not think about Huo Liancheng anymore, so she quickly took out her phone to look at the WeChat message. She wanted to divert her attention, but when she opened it, she saw that Wu Wenjing had sent her a video file. After Jian Yun clicked on it, she saw that the background of the video was very dark. It seemed that there were many people. There was the sound of music. The camera changed a few times and aimed at a person. A handsome face and a sharp gaze. This person was naturally Huo Liancheng. This was a video of him singing that night. Sweat condensed into a time capsule, exploring the world alone in this fate, drinking alone with the world. Even after experiencing hardships, he did not forget his initial heart. When Jian Yun heard this video again, she still felt her heart beat faster. It was really Huo Liancheng singing too well. Moreover, the lyrics were also sung with a desolate atmosphere. It was as if he really felt it. He had truly experienced the desolation of fate, the cold and domineering feeling of drinking alone with the world. Jian Yun plugged in her headphones and listened to it several times. The more she listened, the faster her heart beat. She felt that she had really gone mad. She actually had a good impression of him because of a song. Jian Yun, quickly look at my circle of friends. Wu Wenjing sent another voice message. Jian Yun opened her WeChat moments and immediately saw Wu Wenjing send a video. She thought that it was the same one Wu Wenjing gave her just now. After she opened it, she found that this video was a small video of her singing year, which was only 6 seconds. What she sang was, "In my lifetime, meet on a narrow road." That video. In the beautiful and gentle voice, the long hair of the woman in the video was draped over her shoulders. Her expression was focused and she was very charming. Below Wu Wenjing's video, there were already dozens of people who liked her. The replies were also a long line. What Jian Yun could see were their mutual friends. Moreover, all of these replies were praising her, making Jian Yun feel embarrassed. Of course, there were also some jealous replies that deliberately said that they were ugly, but still made a fool of themselves. Wu Wenjing jumped up and scolded, but Jian Yun directly ignored them. Why did you send my singing video? Jian Yun went to look for Wu Wenjing. There is a complete version. I sent it to President Huo. If you want to see it, go to him. Wu Wenjing did not answer the question. What? Jian Yun directly sat up from the bed. Why did you send it to him? Right, why are you his good friend? Don't be angry when I say it. Wu Wenjing sent a voice message and carefully said, when you guys quarreled earlier, it was you who came back crying from his office that day and submitted your resignation report. The next day, he added me and asked me how you are. Wu Wenjing, you are good. Zhenyun was so angry that she almost went crazy. Huo Liancheng actually planted a spy beside her. She did not even know. Zhenyun, don't be angry. I did not say anything. Okay. Someone came to me to buy things. That's it. Goodbye. Wu Wenjing heard the roar from Zhenyun and was so scared that she threw her phone away. Hey, what else did you tell him? Zhenyun was almost depressed to death. She did not even know how much Huo Liancheng knew about her. This made her feel like she was not wearing any clothes and was shaking in front of him, but she did not know. Just say that you have been making money all these years to take care of Auntie very hard, and about you and Shu Haiyang. I have told you why you guys broke up, and Lin Lanlan, the king of bitches, has made great achievements. Don't worry. There's nothing else. I still have a sense of propriety. Wu Wenjing quickly replied. At this point, Zhenyun could only choose to believe in Wu Wenjing. However, she was still unable to suppress her anger and gave her vicious words. Little fatty Wu, just you wait. Wu Wenjing sent a fearful expression. Her eyes were watery as if she was admitting her mistake. Zhenyun was so angry that she was happy. She originally opened Huo Liancheng's WeChat dialogue and wanted to ask him why he wanted to ask about her in private. However, she deleted the question after she had written it down. It was because Zhenyun suddenly remembered that she and Huo Liancheng were not on the same level at all. If she asked him now, he might be able to trick her with a few words. Furthermore, she had just done such an embarrassing thing and was not ready to face him. Forget it. Anyway, Wu Wenjing had already said it. Moreover, her relationship with Huo Liancheng was not as tense as before. There was even sweetness tonight. It was better not to mention those things in the past. With that thought in mind, Zhenyun decided not to fuss about it anymore. Wu Wenjing sent another message. Don't be angry. Actually, I will tell him because I feel that President Huo is really good to you. People like him will come to me to ask about you. Think about it. Do you feel that it is very surprising, and does this mean that you have thought about something? Wu Wenjing did not wait for Zhenyun's reply, and directly said, this means that he really cares about you. He really cares about you. Zhenyun looked at the line of words on the phone, and her heart suddenly tightened. There seemed to be a golden ray of sunlight in front of her eyes that split open the fog and revealed the green land on the wasteland. Zhenyun did not know when she fell asleep. She only felt that she slept very uneasily. She kept dreaming, and the trivial dreams. She kept running as if she was searching for something, but the thick fog in front of her filled the air. She could not see clearly what was hidden in the thick fog. It made her so anxious that she wanted to keep chasing. Chapter 223. Sorry, I went through the wrong door. The next morning, 7 o'clock. Zhenyun did not sleep well at night and woke up in the morning feeling dizzy. As usual, she got out of bed drowsily and walked to the bathroom. When she pushed the door open, she heard the sound of water coming from inside and immediately woke up. Again, Zhenyun did not need to guess to know that Huo Liancheng was in the shower again. She curled her lips in disdain. President Huo wanted to use this trick to seduce her again. But she would not fall for it again. But she really wanted to pee. Zhenyun looked at the door handle and the light inside. After thinking for a while, she decided to go the opposite way. Since Huo Liancheng always came to the bathroom outside to shower, then she would go to his bedroom bathroom to pee. Zhenyun felt that she was really too smart. She immediately saw through Huo Liancheng's scheme. Thinking of this, Zhenyun turned around and walked towards Huo Liancheng's bedroom. When she pushed open the door, the thick scent that belonged to him blew in her face. It was clean and refreshing. It smelled very good. Zhenyun suddenly felt that having a germophobia was not a bad thing. At least he would not be as slovenly as most men. Once he came home, he would bring along the smell of smelly feet. Huo Liancheng was indeed not in the bedroom. The bed had already been tidied up. Zhenyun was once again surprised. He actually cleaned up the bed himself. She had always thought that it was Zhenyun looked around. Everything was neat and tidy, but it was also cold and quiet, like his spring youth. She really could not hold it anymore. Zhenyun rubbed her legs and felt that she would not go to the washroom again. She was about to pee on her pants. The washroom door was half closed. There was no light or sound inside. Zhenyun boldly pushed open the door and rushed inside. However, she was immediately stunned. Why? Why would there be someone? Zhenyun foolishly looked at the man who was standing in front of the mirror and wiping his hair with a large towel. Huo Liancheng also seemed to be shocked by Zhenyun, who suddenly barged in. He maintained the posture of raising his hands to wipe his hair and turned his head to look at Zhenyun with a thoughtful expression. Zhenyun's eyes were straight, and she subconsciously looked down. Very good. Huo Liancheng was indeed taking a bath. There was not even a cloth covering his entire body. There was even water dripping down his well-defined arm. That figure, that place, it really made one's blood boil. Sorry, I went the wrong way. Zhenyun rolled her eyes with difficulty. She swallowed her saliva and choked out a sentence before running away. Huo Liancheng would not let go of such a good opportunity to flirt with Jian Yun. He reached out his hand and pulled Jian Yun. He raised his eyebrows and said, trying to fool me by saying that you walked the wrong door? Jian Yun was so anxious that she almost peed her pants. She did not care about anything else. She turned around and bit Huo Liancheng's hand. Huo Liancheng did not expect Jian Yun to do this. He subconsciously let go. He immediately saw Jian Yun jump out like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Huo Liancheng looked at Jian Yun's embarrassed look, and then lowered his head to look at the circle of dentures on the back of her hand. He could not help but smile. Jian Yun rushed into the bathroom in the living room and locked the door. She quickly peed, but at this moment, Jian Yun's heart was extremely broken because she saw the tap in the bathtub was on. The sound of water that she had just heard came from here. Oh my God! Jian Yun covered her face. She felt that her intelligence had been really worrying recently. Why did she always do such a strange thing? But after that, Jian Yun realized that something that made her collapse had happened again. She had menstruation. Her pants were completely soaked, but her menstrual scarf was in her bedside table. Jian Yun was embarrassed. 10 minutes later, Jian Yun heard Huo Liancheng knocking on the door. Did you drop the toilet? Come out! Woo! Jian Yun covered her face. She even wanted to die. Her voice sounded like she was about to cry. The period is here. Huo Liancheng was speechless. Well, can you go to my room and get me that? Jian Yun stuttered. Sanitary pad? Huo Liancheng asked. Yes, and underwear. Jian Yun snorted like a mosquito. Jian Yun heard Huo Liancheng make a suspicious sound as if he was laughing, but then his footsteps disappeared. In less than 2 minutes he came back and knocked on the bathroom door. Open the door! You put it on the ground, Jian Yun said gloomily. It's worn close to your body. Isn't it dirty on the ground? Huo Liancheng did not agree. Jian Yun could only get up and carefully open the door. She reached out her small hand and waited until Huo Liancheng passed the thing to her before quickly closing the door. 5 minutes later, Jian Yun pulled the hem of her pajamas and walked out. Her face was red and her eyes were floating. She looked at the sky and did not look at Huo Liancheng. Fortunately, her pajamas were long and could be worn as a nightgown. Otherwise, she would not have been able to come out. Sigh. If it was in the past, she would never have imagined that an unreachable man like Huo Liancheng would give her underwear and sanitary pads. Now that she thought about it, she would still... Jian Yun went back to her room and changed her clothes before coming out. Huo Liancheng was sitting in the restaurant, reading the newspaper, while drinking milk. There was bread. These were all bought from the supermarket when he was not at home. Auntie will come over later to cook chicken soup for you. If you are not feeling well today, don't go to work for now. Huo Liancheng put down the milk and looked at Jian Yun. I am fine. Jian Yun walked to the balcony with her head down. She hung up her underwear and walked back with her head down. Come over and drink this milk. Huo Liancheng waved his hand. Jian Yun hesitated for a moment but still walked over. Although she felt awkward, she had to take the first step, right? The milk was already too hot and Aunt Jian Yun's stomach was always a little uncomfortable. A cup of hot milk was enough to make her feel much more comfortable. Jian Yun thought Huo Liancheng would ask her why she appeared outside his bedroom bathroom just now. However, after waiting for a while, she did not see him ask. He was only focused on reading the newspaper and she could not help but look up at him. He had already changed his clothes. White shirt, black pants, clean and refreshing, like the grass in the university. His drooping eyebrows were unbelievably good. Huo Liancheng did not ask, but Jian Yun could not sit still. She was afraid that he would misunderstand. After all, she had rejected his request last night, but this scene happened this morning. It was too easy to misunderstand. Just now, I heard the sound of water in the washroom outside. I thought, and then... Jian Yun sat beside Huo Liancheng and lowered her head. She stuttered for a long time while pointing at her fingers. Huo Liancheng raised his eyebrows. Do you think I went to the washroom in my bedroom because I was taking a bath inside? Yes. Jian Yun was not confident. Huo Liancheng tried not to laugh. He paused for a second and said, You did not call me today. Huh? Jian Yun originally wanted to ask him why he turned on the tap in the bathroom outside. It was because of that she misunderstood him. When she suddenly heard Huo Liancheng say this, she did not react for a moment. She looked up at him in a daze. Chapter 224, I love you. Why should I? Jian Yun asked stupidly. That's true. Anyway, you have to watch it often in the future. There is no need to shout. Huo Liancheng put down the newspaper and took another sip of milk. He looked at Jian Yun from the top of the glass. What do I need to read regularly? Jian Yun finally reacted. She pouted and glared at Huo Liancheng. Can you not be like that? How am I vulgar? Huo Liancheng was innocent. You were the one who broke in all of a sudden. I was almost scared to death by you. Why didn't I see that you were scared to death? Jian Yun continued to glare at Huo Liancheng. Then do you want to check? Huo Liancheng leaned forward and stared at Jian Yun with a smile. No. Jian Yun lowered her head and took a few bites of the bread. She suddenly realized that Huo Liancheng had just eaten the bread. Forget it. She had kissed him. He had fed her wine with his mouth. She had drunk it too. At this time, if he disliked the things he had eaten, wouldn't it be a little pretentious? Jian Yun finished the bread in a few bites and looked at the time. It was getting late. If she did not go out and catch up to the peak of work, the road would be blocked. Are you going to the company today? Jian Yun rubbed her stomach and got up to walk to the sofa to put on her coat. She turned her head and asked Huo Liancheng. Go. Huo Liancheng did not know when he had followed Jian Yun. She turned her head and he hugged her. He put his big hand on her stomach. It was warm and very comfortable. I have something important to do today. What is important? Jian Yun asked casually, but then she pursed her lips. Take it that I did not ask. Huo Liancheng was the president of the Mings. How could he say anything that was important to him? She was used to being casual with him. You'll know when the time comes, Huo Liancheng smiled. His eyes lit up. Is it a raise? Jian Yun felt that Huo Liancheng's big hand was very comfortable rubbing her stomach. She no longer resisted him and put her hands naturally on his hands. Huo Liancheng was pleased by Jian Yun's natural intimacy. He buried his face in her neck and smelled the fragrance of her body. He said, more or less. Really increase the salary? Jian Yun blinked. She just said it casually. She did not expect Huo Liancheng to answer like that. Of course. How much do you want? Huo Liancheng smiled. Jian Yun thought about it and sighed regretfully. I think I should forget about it. I have already given 5 times my salary. The middle and upper echelons of Mings are only so-so. If I raise my salary any further, my conscience will be uneasy. What's there to worry about with such a small amount of money? Huo Liancheng said disdainfully. If you want to compare it to the wealth your husband brought them, what they gave you is nothing more than a drop in the ocean. It's not worth mentioning at all. Grandpa? Jian Yun's mouth twitched. She felt uncomfortable all over. Remove the last word. Huo Liancheng frowned and pinched Jian Yun's waist. I'm not that old yet. Jian Yun could not help but laugh. She turned to look at Huo Liancheng and smiled. You are the old man and you are still Father Huo. Huo Liancheng did not say much and used his lips to cover Jian Yun's mouth. This kiss was long and warm. After a long time, Huo Liancheng let go of Jian Yun. He narrowed his eyes and pinched her nose. Don't call me that. It will make me feel guilty, as if I am really kissing my daughter. Jian Yun's eyes were watery. She first pursed her lips and smiled, then she laughed happily. Still smiling. When Huo Liancheng saw Ji Yun smile, his mood became better. He hugged her and asked, How is your parents? By the way, I've always wanted to tell you. Jian Yun only remembered after he reminded her, so she conveyed Wu Yongfei's meaning. My mom said that she was tired after so many years and was disappointed with my dad. She did not want to fight for any more property and only wanted to get a divorce as soon as possible. What do you think? Huo Liancheng looked into Jian Yun's eyes. Jian Yun lowered her eyes and was silent for a while. Then she said, I don't want to. Huo Liancheng did not say anything and waited for Jian Yun to continue. Jian Yun sighed and then said, But my mother said she was wrong. She even said that Daddy's company is no longer working. Even if we fight, there is not much. Instead, it is a waste of time, so I respect my mother's opinion. You don't want anything? Huo Liancheng narrowed his eyes. I don't want anything. Dad didn't give it to me when Mom and I were in the most difficult times. I have come alone for the past 6 years. So, it doesn't really matter if you have money or not. He can give it to whoever he wants. I would rather earn what I want by myself. Jian Yun said in a deep voice. Although she was still very unwilling to accept that her father, who used to love her so much, was now so cold to her, the matter had already come to this step and she did not want to bother about anything else. All right, as long as you have made up your mind, whatever you need to do, contact Lei Qiansheng directly. Huo Liancheng hugged Jian Yun. He could feel her body subconsciously trembling when she mentioned her father. Presumably, her father's 6 years of indifference had hurt her too much. Jian Yun actually made such a decision because she had secretly investigated her father's company. There was indeed a big problem with her father's company. Now, the capital flow was not working and was on the verge of bankruptcy. So even if her mother filed a divorce lawsuit, she would not get much. Moreover, once the stalemate lasted for a long time, she might even have to split the debt. It was not worth it. Jian Yun was not worth it for her mother. Back then, she had worked so hard to start a business, but she did not enjoy much. She had let Lin Rong and her daughter benefit for no reason. Since Jian Dongming was heartless, they could only be unjust. Little Wildcat, are you going to change your name to Little Fox? Your eyeballs are rolling around. What are you scheming? Huo Liancheng saw Jian Yun's expression change, and his expression also changed. He raised his eyebrows and scratched Jian Yun's nose. I love you. Jian Yun stared into Huo Liancheng's eyes and suddenly said unexpectedly. Huo Liancheng was stunned and felt his heart was beating wildly. A surge of hot blood rushed into his head, making him feel wild with joy. But then he calmed down because he saw Jian Yun's pursed lips and big eyes sparkling. This girl was clearly saying these 3 words on purpose to make him talk. I know. Huo Liancheng was a little depressed. He almost believed her. Jian Yun's eyelids twitched. She did not play according to common sense. Huo Liancheng was actually so thick-skinned and sticking close to her? Then you should tell me now. Jian Yun could only bite the bullet. Tell you what? Huo Liancheng pretended not to understand. Tell me who you are and how we know each other. Also, why do you like me? Jianyun was anxious. She was very curious about these questions. What if I don't tell you? Huo Liancheng narrowed his eyes and smiled maliciously. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Although Jianyun was acting coquettishly, her eyes were shining as she stared at Huo Liancheng. She looked like she would tear him apart if he didn't say anything. Chapter 225. I only have one ex-boyfriend. You're scaring me. The more Huo Liancheng looked at Jianyun, the cuter he found Jianyun. He could not help but feel regret. If he had woken up earlier, he would have lied to her from the start. He did not think that what happened after would happen, and it would not have made her so prejudiced against him. It's just to scare you. Hurry up and say it, otherwise I won't be polite to you anymore. Jianyun said angrily. She was already thick-skinned enough to say those 3 words. Could Huo Liancheng be trying to play dumb? But I changed my mind. Huo Liancheng deliberately raised the corner of his mouth. I want to hear you say these 3 words to me every day until I'm satisfied. Too much, Jianyun pouted. Actually, she also knew that with Huo Liancheng's cunning character, he would definitely not fall for it. Furthermore, she only wanted to test him. She did not intend to get the answer today. You just said it so smoothly. How many people did you say it to before? Those 3 words made Huo Liancheng's heart itch, but it also made him lose his usual calmness. Are you jealous? Jianyun blinked her eyes and looked at Huo Liancheng with surprise. Until now, she still found it unbelievable. What was the reason why this man who seemed to have no relationship with her so possessive of her? Is it obvious? Huo Liancheng asked. Yes. Jianyun nodded heavily. She looked at the time and said, if we don't go out, there will be a traffic jam on the road. Huo Liancheng knew Jianyun was changing the topic. He did not ask again. He was afraid that he would not be able to calm down after hearing the answer he did not want to know. All the anger he could not hold in his life was because of her. Today, Huo Liancheng drove by himself until the car drove out for a long time. Jianyun suddenly said, 1. Huo Liancheng did not react. He turned his head to look at her. 1? Jianyun looked out the window and raised a finger at Huo Liancheng. I only have one ex-boyfriend. There is nothing else. A gentle expression flashed across Huo Liancheng's cold eyes. Jianyun greeted Huo Liancheng when they were about to reach the street where the Ming's building was located. Let me out of the car before the stop sign. We're not here yet. Why are you in such a hurry to get out of the car? Huo Liancheng did not understand. Are you going to get off at the Ming's again? Then everyone will see me get off your car. Jianyun said. So what? I don't care. Huo Liancheng would not care about this. I care. Jianyun knocked on the door and signated Huo Liancheng to stop the car. I don't want to hear any gossip. Huo Liancheng endured it and did not say it out loud. In fact, anyone with a discerning eye should be able to see through his intention when he went to the private room where the Human Resources Department was gathering last night. This girl was still in a daze and could not figure out the situation. All right, I'm getting out of the car. Slow down. Jianyun greeted Huo Liancheng and opened the door to get out of the car. There was a bus coming from behind. She quickly took out her bus pass and rushed up. The aunties beside her were stunned. Why did you come here to squeeze the bus if you don't have such a good car? Jianyun pretended to listen. When she saw Huo Liancheng's car following beside the bus, she could not help but wave at him. The 2 stops were very quick. When Jianyun got out of the car, she saw Huo Liancheng also arriving. She could not help but feel strange. He made her feel a lot of pressure like this. For some reason, there was another person who liked her for 6 years. He was also such a man with excellent conditions that one could not find for. Furthermore, this man valued her so much. Jianyun did not even know when did it become so good. Actually, it was not bad to have a relationship with Huo Liancheng. When he was not angry at her, he was really gentle and so good-looking. She seemed to have no reason not to accept him. She couldn't always be timid. Just because of that failed love, she was desperate for all men. When Jianyun was waiting for the elevator, all kinds of thoughts kept flashing through her mind, but then she slapped her forehead. It was over. Was she brainwashed by Huo Liancheng? She clearly hated him a few days ago and felt that if she continued with him, her safety would be threatened. Why did he come back from a mission and she found him pleasing to the eye? It was the peak period for work. There were many people waiting for the elevator. The elevator did not come down for a long time. Jianyun turned her head and saw the lights of the exclusive elevator for the president were on. It seemed that Huo Liancheng directly took the elevator from the underground parking lot. Jianyun immediately regretted it. She might as well take the elevator down from the parking lot with Huo Liancheng. Then she could go to the empty floor and change the elevator. She did not need to spend so much effort. She changed the bus again and waited for the elevator again. The elevator finally came down. When Jianyun went to the Human Resources Department to swipe her card and go in, she was 2 minutes late. The morning was busy, but Jianyun felt that the atmosphere in the Human Resources Department was a little strange. Including Vice Manager Chen, a few of the employees looked at her strangely. Vice Manager Chen came to greet her after a while. His warm eyes made Jianyun's hair stand up. Furthermore, Jianyun also felt that there were a few female colleagues who looked at her strangely. It was as if they were hiding jealousy, cold like a poisonous snake. Especially Li Hui and Ma Jingjing. Jianyun found that the two of them were secretly looking at her several times. After she found them, she immediately pretended to be looking at the documents. Jianyun could not help but think, could it be that these people all had fiery eyes of truth and found out about her and Huo Liancheng? But last night, he did not do anything. He did not even look at her. How did these people see through it? When the morning's work was about to end, Jianyun received a call from Huo Liancheng. Come up. What are you doing? Jianyun turned off her computer and organized the documents in her hands. Let's eat. Auntie brought the soup over. Hurry, I'll wait for you. Huo Liancheng hung up the phone after he finished speaking. He did not give Jianyun the chance to refuse. Jianyun dawdled for a while and saw that it was almost time. She picked up an empty folder and walked out the door as if she wanted to go to another department. She wanted to cover it up and took the elevator to another floor. She waited for a while before going to the CEO's office. Why is it so long? Huo Liancheng was standing beside the elevator. When Jianyun came out, he picked her up. Hey, put me down. It's not good to be seen, Jianyun said nervously. There's no one here. Huo Liancheng had tasted the sweet taste last night, and now he wanted to push Jianyun down at all times. He did not let her go, but carried her all the way to the office. Before Huo Liancheng could finish his sentence, Jianyun saw Cheng Mu's pass by them. She watched him walk over calmly. In her heart, there were already 10,000 horses galloping past. This was called no one? Cheng Muze seemed to have seen through Jianyun's thoughts. He smiled. You can treat me as not a person. Then what are you? Jianyun asked casually. She had already given up on struggling and she guessed that Cheng Mu's already knew about her and Huo Liancheng living together, so she did not need to hide anything. You can treat me as a sweetheart or a cute bunny on your bedside table, Cheng Mu said with a smile.